Thanks to Don for submitting that Rotary grant. Yep. They just got $5,000 for a planning grant to determine the feasibility of putting in an incubator kitchen at Building 58. Since that original issue came up, though, the vision has expanded with Don and Chip and some other folks having conversations. Now what we're hoping to do is develop a feasibility study over the next 6 or 7 months to put in fish processing, dairy processing, fruit and vegetable processing, an incubator kitchen, a teaching kitchen, a year-long farmers market, potentially teaching greenhouses on the roof of Building 58, animal processing, retail, cold storage. And it makes a lot of sense because it's tied right in there with Munson, so there's the whole health aspect, there's the recreation behind that area, there's already folks working, community gardens, also on the state hospital grounds, there's the barns, the trail system, the CS Mott group is involved, Michigan State University, Cherry Capital Foods, so there's a lot of, and there's potential funding available too from USDA Rural Development, and we hope this will go a long way. I should also mention one of my favorite ones that just came up is potentially having a small-scale malter there, so we can actually produce 100% Michigan-made beer. We grow the hops, but we can grow all the grains. Actually, Bell's tried to do this last year, and they had to ship the barley out to Wisconsin to get malted and then ship it back into Michigan because there's no malter, as far as I know, in Michigan. So I'd like to add that to the list as well, as long as we're visioning. So a lot of great people involved, a lot of great groups, and we're meeting the end of February, and we're going to go forward from there and try to develop a feasibility plan. We have the person who started the Eastern Market in Detroit coming up and to be a consultant, and there's also a similar project going on in Grand Rapids. That person is going to be coming up to help us as well. So there's a lot of support for this, and I believe it's going to be called the TC Urban Market. Is that right? So hopefully we'll have a feasibility plan together in the next few months, and we can get this thing going over the next couple of years.
Mark Code, you want to start making your way up here? So the next thing I want to report on is farm-to-school efforts, and that's something that the network really supports. The network really helped me a lot in organizing a farm-to-school conference in March that drew about 400 people to it. And Kristen Mishak from TCAPS is here. You want to just raise your hand so people know you? You know, when you saw Rob talk about the pilot project that started at Central Grade School, Kristen's the one who started it. And it was really a pilot project at Central for about 1 month, and then she immediately extended it to, at the time, I think it was 20 or 21 school buildings that she started working on this. And so you can see that it's really grown since then around the region. One of the places that it's grown a lot is down in Benzie County, and Renee DeWint, who's the food service director there, who, if she had come, might have been wearing an asparagus hat, which she borrows from the Empire Asparagus Festival every year to serve when she's doing roasted asparagus in schools, but she came down with the flu, so she could not be here. But she asked me to speak on her behalf, and I wanted to let you know that she's working with 30 different farms now for her school system. She started out as food service director for Frankfurt, Alberta area schools, and now she's doing Benzie County Central schools as well, and she's the person who is consulting, assisting in Yakima. You heard Brandon Fewens talk about that experience down there, so it's really growing. And she's buying a really wide variety of local produce. She even likes to just do things, even if she can have it for a short period of time. She likes to have different colored peppers, different colored potatoes, because she knows the kids are intrigued by that. She's buying eggs, milk, and meat. That meatloaf, I suspect, was made from ground beef from Randy Rice Farm down in Benzie County that Brandon said he ate yesterday. And she said it's one example of how it's grown. She started with just 2 school buildings her first year. Now she's doing 8. The first year she purchased 150 cases of apples, local apples, and this year she's purchased 1,825 cases of local apples. And the kids, you know, respond to it. Her first year that she started doing it, she said the kids ate like 5 times as many apples as they did before, when she had sort of mealy Washington bread, delicious apples, you know, cutting in. But the one reason I really wanted Renee to speak today as well is that she's an example in her school system. She's seen the difference that this makes for lower income families as well. If you're coming from a financially stable family, if your parents don't like what the school is serving, they can send them with packed lunch, right? But for low-income kids, you know, their families can get assistance to have free or reduced price lunches. And so for those families, you know, they really count on it and they really appreciate it. And I interviewed a family down in Benzie County, 6th grader Aaron goes to the Platte River Elementary School. I interviewed his mom, Shannon. And this is in the story that's up on our website right now, that went up last night for our Families on the Edge series. But, you know, Aaron talked about how his favorite thing to eat at school is the salad bar, and he particularly likes the peppers. He piles the peppers on there. And he has it every day. No matter what else he has salad from the salad bar. His mom talked about what that means to her, to know that he's going to be able to get that, for sure, have fresh vegetables every day and fresh fruit. Part of those apples is that apples are always available for kids to get in the principal's office, and they can take baskets down to their classroom every day, and all kids can eat apples. So she's told me that she goes through 12 cases of apples a week in Aaron's school, which is a lower income school. A lot of the kids come from high free and reduced lunch families. And they go through about 12 cases of apples a week there, whereas in one of her schools where the kids are from families that are more financially comfortable, she only goes through 2. And so she really thinks that's because for the kids who come from lower income families, you know, they have a hunger for that produce that they're not necessarily getting at home because families are stretched. And her quote in the story is, "For my low-income kids, it's a novelty, and the fresh fruits and vegetables, those low-income kids gobble it up like it's gold." So it means a lot to families and to schools and to farmers. And Mark Coe is with Calvin Lutz Farm down in Manistee, and he's going to talk a little bit about what the growing farm-to-school movement has meant to him as a farmer.
Thank you, Diane. As Diane mentioned, I'm from Calvin Lutz Farms, and I wrote this so I could try and stay within the 2 minutes you gave me. Pardon me while I read. We are a small, medium to large farm growing fruits and vegetables. 4 years ago, we came to the conference, or actually 4 years ago, we actually had no idea about what the farm-to-school movement was and what it might mean to us. And about 3 years ago, we came to the conference and we saw what was going on and heard about it. And after attending our first farm-to-school conference, we thought about the possibilities with us supplying some of the farms and doing that type of project. With some urging from the Michigan Land Use Institute, Patty and Diane, we started looking at it and attending many farm-to-school meetings at many levels, including the National Taking Root in America Conference last year. In 2009, through a local distributor, we supplied, with the help of 3 local farmers, 600 half bushels of peaches fresh to Chicago Public Schools. That was a learning point for us. That was a beginning. Then, over the next year or so, we found out that a lot of local schools wanted to be involved in this also. So, in late 2009 and 2010, we made contacts with them. And in 2010, we sold fresh fruit and vegetables to 5 local school districts. We jumped on board with Frankfort-Benzie, Manistee, KND, Onekama, and Bear Lake schools. We provided the kids with the fresh produce and have, in this process, have worked with the Northwest Food and Farming Network, and we are pulling together farmers, distributors, buyers, and food service directors in our Northwest area to provide a distribution system for the process. The opportunities in our mind are endless because I think that this is escalating into colleges, hospitals, nursing homes, on and on. It's another thing that I'm excited about is because in small rural districts like we are in our area, the small local farmers now have an opportunity and another resource to sell their produce. And it is quality produce. A lot of the local schools now are putting up greenhouses. The kids are working in the greenhouses and growing the things that they are eating. And another great aspect of this is that the schools are allocated federal dollars for the hot lunch programs. Those federal dollars are now being spent locally and staying in the area. And I'd like to ask people just to think about the cost of school lunches. A cappuccino, a cup of specialty coffee, $2.50 to $4 a cup. The kids' hot lunches, $2.25, $2.70 for a full meal. I don't know, seems low. Just think if we could get 20 to 30 cents more a meal for these kids. And this is at a time when the child's nutritional needs, they're developing their minds and bodies. It's a big plus for them to get more than what they're getting now. Is this a farmer? Am I a farmer promoting sales? Well, a little bit, but I also have a vested interest. I have a 13-year-old 8th grader in Onekma schools, and he's my real interest. So I just say, join the farm to school movement. It is a movement. It's rolling. Jump on board and help the children out.
Okay, we want to go to another farmer. Craig Shop, are you out in the audience somewhere? You want to talk a little bit about the seed saving initiative?
Yes, last year at the summit we brought up the idea of having a regional seed saving network. And Jim Slider set up a meeting in January in which I think there was somewhere around 16 of us that got together that just kind of brainstormed a little further about what's possible. And in November they sent out a mailing and we had 65 people that came to that the second meeting that we had. There was a lot of enthusiasm. There was a panel of people that taught on seed saving. We held another meeting in January and there was 100 and some people that came to the meeting. And it kind of overwhelmed us to realize the interest that there is in seed saving. So the Land Institute is also setting up a database where we can list anyone growing seed locally. A home gardener to a farmer could list locally grown seed on this database and sell it. And another thing that seems to be coming out of is chefs. Miles at Stella's bought melons and squash and different things that we were able to actually save seed on. So not only were farmers able to sell the crop to the chef, but he saved the seed and made it possible for us to list that locally now. So we're hoping to get more chefs involved as well. So